Hi everyone, welcome back to yet another show of Your Story Today. Now, today I'm putting on a Bayern Munich t-shirt. It has nothing to do with today's show. It has nothing to do with any of my guests. It has nothing to do with anything. I'm just putting on this t-shirt because I love it. And also because I think it looks good on me. I'm told my okay, whatever. Anyway, so welcome to today's show. We are going to have a very good one. As you can see on the screen, today we are hosting, now I call them the first family. I don't know whether they accept to be called the first family or not, but I call them the first family. So today we are hosting the CEO of Writers Guild Kenya and his wife, who is also apparently the publishing manager for Writers Guild Kenya, who is also apparently an author, who is also apparently very many things, an editor, and a good person, and a person who smiles a lot. Now, I want somebody to give me a comment about her hair when she comes on. It looks very interesting. So that will be a comment I'll be looking forward to, and also the smile of our CEO. Before we start, I want to encourage you to like, share, and comment on this broadcast. If you can, just like I'm going to do right now, start a watch party on your device. So I'm going to do that on mine just right now. So yes, so I've started a watch party on mine. Start one on yours as well, so that you can enjoy with friends and family. Anywho, right about now, I want to introduce my guests. And I can see comments have already started coming in. People have already started bringing scandals here. So let me welcome my guests before I do anything else. Now, they're on the same camera, so I don't know how to introduce them one by one. So I guess I'm just going to bring them together as a family. Anyways, welcome, guys.
Oh, no.
I've heard Verah saying, oh, no. Oh, yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello, Bwana LOGEDI. How are you?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, we were losing you, but I'm very happy now we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. It always happens. So I always lose people a bit, and then I catch them, then we create scandals, then we continue. So that's how we are going to roll. We lose each other, we create scandals, we continue.
Okay. Wow, very nice.
Are you doing well? How are you?
It's a bit tense. It's a bit tense, but well, we are here.
Why would anyone be tense on my show? If you are on my show, you have fun. You don't tense.
We'll catch up.
Well, we are tense because you started on a very high note. First, you mentioned someone's hair. Then again, you talked about Bayern Munich. So we feel intimidated already, eh?
For your record, I like her hair. Her hair looks a very organized mess. Your hair looks like, when I was young, we used to watch wrestling. There was somebody in wrestling who was called Kalito. This person always had an apple in hand. Alikuwa anakula apples kila wakati na hata hakuwa ananona. But this guy was the most hilarious person I knew in wrestling. So you look like Kalito. If anyone knows Kalito from wrestling, they'll tell us who that was. Exactly like him. He was also black.
Oh, wow.
I think for us, the far we went with wrestling was just knowing Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Undertaker.
Yeah.
So this Kalito, it looks to us like it is a wrestling on a book somewhere, which is fictitious. So you may need to tell us more.
It's not. If anyone in the comment knows the wrestler who was called Kalito, and you have to be old enough to know Kalito, because Kalito was wrestling in the early 2000s. Some, I don't know. I don't know whether he was there in the late 90s. I didn't watch wrestling in the late 90s. But then you have to be a legend for you to know Kalito. But I guess there are a few legends in my comments. I hope someone can prove me right that there is a wrestler called Kalito. If I don't, I'll be in a big scandal. How are you doing?
Great. And you?
You're clearly doing great.
Yes. We are all doing well, and we are very happy to be here. Yeah, I think that would do for now. But we are very happy, and we are all doing great.
Okay. At the end of the show, I'll ask Verah about why your eyes are disappearing. She had talked about them at some point. She'll have to repeat that.
Can you see his eyes?
No, I can't see his eyes.
Me neither.
No, I can't see his eyes. Where are they? No, I can't see his eyes. Let's blame the light. Anyway, so I've not even introduced you, and then we've just started having a conversation here. So it will be very good for the viewers for us to first of all know who is Verah and who is Gabriel, and then we can continue. So where do we start? Let's start from my left. Yes, my left.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, Verah says we start from Gabriel. So Gabriel, we go. Who is Gabriel?
Well, thank you. My name is Gabriel Dinda Olewe. I'm happily married to Verah. So I think the first point of knowing would be I'm Verah's husband. Yeah, but more than that.
Okay, handle number one.
I'm always confused every time I have to introduce myself, especially on regards to what we do or what I do. But I think to cut the long story short, because this part of what we are going to discuss tonight is the founder of Writers Guild Kenya, and then I always wish to write more, though I've never achieved. I've never written as much as I want, but sometimes, especially on good days, I call myself an author. Such is the day today. And my latest book is called Questions of My Youth, where I ask questions which I have come across before my 30. It's celebrated 30 years this year. So all the questions that were troubling me before then, I put them together in a book. And I hope to write more than I do currently. And I'm always happy to work together with other people to grow a true home of writers, a growth center for writing in the name of Writers Guild Kenya. So I think that would do for now. But in the course of the session, we'll be able to get deeper into this conversation.
Okay, you've introduced some very interesting scandals, which I will be delving deeper into a bit later. But before we do that, who is Verah?
Oh, well, my name is Verah Omwocha, and I borrowed Dinda from him, so that can go as well. I believe I'm a human being of female.
Wow.
Yeah, of
Wow.
female gender. I am married to this guy. He said he's married to me, so I have to say I'm married to him. Yeah. Yeah, I'm married to this
So
guy.
if he had not said it, would you have said it?
Oh, well, it's a good day, I believe so, yeah. And what I do, I work with words. That's how I usually say it. I work with words. I write and I edit. So basically, mostly my life revolves around that. I'm also a student of literature and I love books. Seriously. What else? Yeah, we'll catch up along the way.
We will, because I have so much scandals for both of you. And before I even continue, some people are already bringing scandals. Oma is saying, "Hi Verah and Gabriel, our altar authors." Oma, you'll have to come back and tell me what altar authors mean.
I just assumed
and then she continues. Yeah, she says the hair is a good scandal. So yeah, clearly we are going to discuss your hair a lot tonight. And we're also going to discuss Gabriel's hair or lack of it a lot tonight. Tito says, Vera, you are a revolutionary, Vera Dinda, revolutionary hair. Your hair is revolutionary. It's becoming a very interesting topic.
Who even say?
Okay, so Abulasia is bringing trouble here. She's saying, I have never heard of Kalito. Abulasia, you are not going to just slaughter me like that, Mickey. No, there is a wrestler called Kalito. I'm serious about it. Somebody help me here. Oh, finally. Tito, thank you very much. There's actually a wrestler known as Kalito. Tito knows him. Tito has watched wrestling long enough. Welcome so much. Scholar says she's here. Welcome, Kabisa. And then she says, Scholar was, Kalito was of wrestling. Sindio, yes, Scholar. Scholar, these are legends. You don't understand this thing. So thank you very much to everyone who is tuning in. Now, before I go very far, the both of you are authors, published authors, and because of in the interest of not running short of description of authors, I'm going to start with Gabriel because Vera's profile of authorship is a bit convoluted. I'm going to use that word a lot tonight because I'm feeling like using big English. When you're talking to fathers of writing, use big English. Yours is convoluted. Gabriel is magnanimous. Now, Gabriel, you are an author of 2.5 books. I use 2.5 carefully because, first of all, you have written something in a book called Through the Journey of Hope, and then you have 2 books that you published yourself, correct?
Yeah.
So let's start with Through a Journey of Hope. Then you'll tell us about your self-publishing guide, and then you'll give us some tidbits about questions. Is it questions to your youth or conversations with your youth? What were you even telling your young self? So tell us about your writing.
Well, thank you very much, Douglas. I'm grateful to be here, sincerely, and especially that today the people in the comment are the writers. You know, every time you talk to writers, you have to select your words very carefully because they even have a vocabulary for it. It's called diction. So, choice of words. So tonight I hope to match up. Well, regarding my writing, I think a background would help. I didn't think or I didn't know that I had a chance with writing, or I had a chance I could try my hand in writing. But then with the reflection and some retrospection, I realized that when I was in high school, I would spend a lot of time in the library with a friend of mine called Akech Boniface, who probably is watching. He was the library captain, and I would spend a lot of time there reading the newspaper and books. Every other time I'd read something, I would want to write something about it, a reflection or something that has been inspired from that. So that culture went ahead even when I was a student at Kenyatta University, where I thought writing was my justice. So every time I saw something that I thought could be otherwise, I always thought that I have won that battle when I've written about it. So if I had a bad day, I would write about it, and then I would feel better. So in one of such occasions, I met a gentleman where I wrote about careers and why students should be involved in careers and taking part in activities in school. And that is how my writing now, I would say, got some recognition, because now I was put as an editor of a magazine. So as an editor of a magazine, I met many writers, and especially when Writers Guild started, there were many writers. You included, Douglas, you, Munira Hussein, Vincent de Paul. There were a number of writers, the first lot. So in 2016, when Writers Guild had been in existence for 2 years, we thought there was so much good content. Every time we had Ecclesia, there would be very nice poems presented. And then one of our friends called Dr. Nebe shared an idea that how about we put this together in a book, in an anthology. And that is what gave birth to Through the Journey of Hope. So Through the Journey of Hope is an anthology bringing together many poems from different poets expressing different societal issues. Yeah, and that was the first place where I got a chance to contribute as a writer. And then even before the self-publishing guide, I then also got a chance to contribute in the Youth Unemployment Kenya, a ticking time bomb. That was, again, a collection of scholarly articles, which was sponsored by Dr. Nebe and also published by Longhorn Publishers. That is, then at that point, Writers Guild was deep into guiding writers and growing other writers. So every other time, writers almost would come with the same questions. How do I publish? I sent my manuscripts to this publisher, but I didn't hear from them. Is self-publishing better? If yes, where do you start? So that is what inspired me to put all the answers down in that small book. I thought someone would sit down for 1 hour or two to get some of the answers to the questions that they ask. So yeah, that is what. So the practical guide to self-publishing in Kenya is are answers to troubling questions, especially for those who would wish to consider self-publishing as an avenue of publishing. And then after practical guide to self-publishing in Kenya, then now came one which I would say I truly love. Not that I have a reserved love for the previous ones, but I truly love Questions of My Youth, because all through I'd been trying to use writing as a tool to serve, writing as a tool to help me do whatever I was doing better. So I was trying to communicate to people through writing. So Questions of My Youth puts all this together, especially some of the things that I see happen every day. I see we have so many opportunities around us, but why do we keep complaining? So I just wrote reflections so that when someone reads, they can be able to think more about how they use the resources around them and many other things. I'll read some sections during the show. So that is my brief writing journey. But as I mentioned in the introduction, that I don't write as much as I wish. My wish always is to write every day, but that doesn't happen. Probably after the show, maybe sometimes it doesn't happen, but maybe after the show, I'll be able to to get an energy to keep my word every day to write something, a specific number of words. I hope that answers your question, Douglas.
There's someone somewhere in this world who is wondering. Somebody who has written 3 books is saying he doesn't write as much as he'd wish. And what about me who has only written a Facebook post? Do not worry, you are in the right place. You can turn your Facebook post into a book. Now, at this point, I'm becoming a motivational speaker. Imagine I started writing my book just with a pen whose ink was over. Imagine. No. Anyways, I didn't do very well as a motivational speaker, so I wouldn't do it very well in this one. Now, Verah, tell us about your own writing journey as well, so that we can be even more scared.
Oh well, it's pieces of here and there. But I think I started writing in 2016. Now calling myself a writer, chini ya maji though, because as writers we hardly ever get the confidence to quite say, oh, this is what I do and I'm very proud of it, even though we are. So I started by working at a publishing house, and that's how I got confidence, or rather, my boss thought I could write just from the reports, the editorial reports I used to write. And he encouraged me to participate in writing English course revision books, which I did. That's at Onsemia Publishers in 2016. And then I started writing a story here, a story there. And so far, it's been a couple of children's books, 3 children's books. I've contributed to
mention the titles.
Oh, Maria and the Tomatoes, Kali the Pets, and Window Towards Nairobi County. Yeah, those are for young. What are they called? children's books. I've also contributed to a short story anthology called The Cry of the Crow and Other Stories. It's published by Videmoa Publishers in 2018. That's for young adults. I have also contributed to school texts. That's English literacy, grade 3 at Longhorn Publishers. And I've contributed to a reference book called The Craft of Creative Writing, published by Writers Guild. It's published in 2019. Yeah. As well as an ebook called The Crescent Moon, which was a short story that won the Tito Livio Award for what? Yeah, it's just the Tito Livio historical fiction. Yes. Wow. Yeah. So much it's been here and there, and of course a couple of pieces here and there, newspaper articles, Facebook posts. And we also created that. Yeah. and book reviews, and it's a lot to capture. I actually realized while decluttering in this period, quarantine period, that I might actually have been writing a lot earlier than I thought. You find your books from way back, and they have some deep thoughts. You like, oh, this sounds intelligent, but it's your handwriting. So yeah, that's definitely me. So I think I started way back, and I hope to, do more.
No, it's it's for the sake of disclosure that I have to also say that I started writing earlier than I thought. My first novel, I wrote it in 2007. Imagine, would you imagine? Now this novel, I don't know where it is. It will never be published, but it was a romance novel. Now, every kid out there has written a romance novel.
Wow. Yeah.
The story was a very long, short story. Yeah? I mean, I thought I was Dr. Love at that point in time. I knew everything about love and what kept. And by the way, I'm still Dr. Love. I mean, when I get serious, I give love advice. But don't come to me for love advice on a normal day. I don't know anything about that Biashara. But on an abnormal day, like any other abnormal day, come to me. Also, if you are looking for a way to keep yourself going through the show, you can always drink. This cup has a yellow color here. I do not know what that person was thinking about. You can't put yellow on my tea. Anyway, so you guys have clearly done a lot, and it's very good that I need to tell the greater audience that you too are the reason why I call myself an author. When I was starting to write, I was writing Magabagodanyo here and there, and then Gabriel told me, just write. Why do you even tell people just write? You should give them solid advice. Then I continued writing, and then when I finished writing, I thought my story didn't make sense. Verah told me, you have a very good story here. And then I was like, oh, okay. So an editor sees a story in me. Anyway, that's a very short story made very long. But before we go into that,
I have a petition. We want the romance novel.
You want the romance novel? What do you want about the romance novel? The title?
The book. I mean, the script.
If I give you the title right now, you will not want that book at all, ever.
What's the title?
The title was called Breakfast in Bed in the Woods.
We still want the romance novel.
No, don't say it much. People will start a petition in the comments, and when petitions start in the comments, I've never.
Move on.
So can I get your story?
Wow.
But anyway, even in those days, by the way, I was lighter than I am today, and the camera is lying. I'm way lighter than I look, and just see my teeth. I look like that. Anyways, so you guys work together in company called Writers Guild. I don't know whether it's a company, an organization, or a group of scandalous people. So tell us about Writers Guild. And I think the best person to tell us about Writers Guild is Gabriel. Tell us about Writers Guild, what you do at Writers Guild, and what type of people you have attracted and would like to continue attracting at Writers Guild Kenya?
Well, perfect. I think now that you've brought this issue, I hope I will not get emotional as I tell you about Writers Guild, and we've taken measures to ensure that I'm not I'm not getting emotional. But
okay, at this point in time, Verah, switch off the screen and bring a handkerchief just in case he gets emotional. We have to deal with it either way.
Yeah, actually, I'm very happy that you showed us how we can be able to, to block the world and wipe off our tears and then come back.
No, your tears. Please. I'm
Okay.
going to cry.
Okay, so Writers Guild is an incubation center for writers. We are an organization registered as a trust in Kenya with a sole purpose to grow writers and encourage reading in our families. So that is Writers Guild in one sentence. Some people call it the growth center of writers, home of writers, true home of writers. But in all this, you see there is some consistency. Our wish is to grow writers. We are always very happy. First, if it was possible to get an immediate feedback, I would have asked if the people who are watching now believe that they have a story to tell, because that is the first point or the first reason of existence of Writers Guild. We thought in 2013 especially that we had many people with many stories to tell. Everyone really has a story to tell, but in there was trouble. Many people were trying to publish their books, trying to penetrate possibly the media. Well, blogging was famous, but not as famous as it is today. But many people were generally yearning for avenues to tell their story. And this is where we thought we could make a contribution to the world. Just to come together, group of friends, to come together, and Douglas, you are there from the beginning, to come together, create a home and structures where we can be able to support each other. And that was very simple. Probably you have written a story, and I am on this end. Just giving you sharing your story with me so that I could be able to read it and then tell you, I think this is good, or I think you can adjust here. I think you can adjust here. Then after that, what next? How can I publish it? Then probably you tell them that I know this publishing house, or I know this avenue you can use to publish. It was as simple as that. Just an incubation center or a place where writers come together to encourage each other and to help each other grow. And that is the vision that we have to grow a true home of writers where writers help each other grow. Many people confuse Writers Guild, or many people think Writers Guild is a publishing house. And I have to make it clear that Writers Guild is not primarily a publishing house. Writers Guild is a growth center. We aim to grow a very good writer who can be able to compete in the world. A good writer to a point that any publisher in the world can accept their work, or their work can be published or told anywhere in the world. So our wish is to be that growth center for writers, growing quality writers and encouraging people to tell their stories. So how do we do this? Through a number of ways, some of which we'll be able to mention as the show goes on.
That's very much interesting. And in one sentence, I'm really interested in putting you on the spot and just asking, are you able to estimate how many writers you've grown so far?
Perfect. We measure impact on different fronts. When we started, we measured impact on our membership, because these are the people who are interested to take part in our programs consistently, with a view to refining their writing. On that basis, today, Writers Guild has a total membership of 3,031. And this 3,031 across the country. And this spans from the affiliate members of Writers Guild, the incubate members of Writers Guild, the Tunza members of Writers Guild. All the explanations of these categories of membership will be able to give during the show. So the total number of members we have, I've mentioned, is 3,031. We also measure impact regarding the number of books that have been published, either by Writers Guild or published writers or first-time authors who passed through Writers Guild, or people who have gotten inspiration. And I'm very happy to see you, Nia, here. I'm very happy to see you, Douglas. I'm very happy to see Munira Hussein. I'm very happy to see Mugenyo Jiambo. So those are some of the authors who honed their writing skills from writing, and you can be able to see some of the books projected there. Thank you very much for that, Douglas. So on that front, currently, we have 72 authors who have either been published by Writers Guild or have been, have come from Writers Guild and have gone to either publish with other organizations or pursue self-publishing with other firms. So that is another front where we measure our impact. Then another front where we measure our impact is regards to the programs that we do. So our flagship program or our flagship project that we always do is called Writers Ecclesia. And if you claim to be a member of Writers Guild, or if you claim to be a writer, someone who would wish to serve through writing or to do good through writing, and you've never been to Writers Ecclesia, then I think we need to talk. So for Writers Ecclesia, we've had it consistently. Last year, for the 52 weeks in a year, we had Ecclesia for 46 weeks. 46 weeks. So we have it every Friday. Yeah, and that is the same case for this year. We've had it consistently. Even COVID couldn't manage to disrupt us. We keep going. So that is also one of the programs through which we bring everyone together. So publishers, we always bring publishers and editors and writers and potential or aspiring writers to Ecclesia so that we can be able to exchange ideas and learn from each other. Then our recent baby, and this is a very interesting discussion because tomorrow we are having our fourth class.
In fact, let me just stop you there. Let me just stop you there before you talk about this baby. There's a very special place for this baby. So we don't talk about babies when you are talking about adults. You just finished talking. You know, when you are talking about writers, you are so serious. Somebody may think you are always that serious. I have to remind my viewers that this guy is always joking. This guy is not always as serious as he looks when he's describing Writers Guild. So don't even worry about it. Before you can tell us about the baby, I'll come back to the baby, and there's something very interesting going on tomorrow. And I'll actually be putting you on the spot, give my viewers some discount or something of that sort tonight. So just prepare yourself psychologically for that level of torture. I want to read a few comments, then I'll come back to Vera in a minute. Now there are quite a lot of them, so I'll just read a few as I can. First of all, from the scandalous Omwocha, altar authors are couples who write marriage ring on their fingers. Wait, Omwocha, what if they remove the ring at night and then they stop being altar authors? Pen taps on the ring, okay, like a magical wand and creates words. It's a scandal, I tell you. You are bringing worse scandals in this show. You bring scandals on my show. Okay. Junior says, Logedi, umematch kikombe na nguo za power couple. Oh, okay. Kikombe. I didn't even notice it. Tumeshonesha vitenge. I'm a kid in that family. Hautatuletea share. So Scholar says Douglas is history. Of course, Douglas has to be with history. And also, I'm also called a penguin. Penguins always drink tea. And don't even ask me how, because I'm not going to answer. Oma says, just right. That's what Gabriel told me the first day. That was so discouraging, but here I am. Abulasha says, that's the romance guru. Please, hebu mniachane. My romance novel is in very safe hands. It will be published someday. Ngugi Karoki says, want to join. Ngugi Karoki, there's a number that is flashing below your screen. You can just text, WhatsApp, or do anything to it, and a very beautiful lady will reply. It will not be a voice that sounds like this one of mine. This voice of mine sounds like, Mugi wa Kibiro just resurrected from his grave, or something like Bamuriat. Did you read stories of Bamuriat? Bamuriat with his foot just stepped on. That's how it sounds. Don't even worry about it. Somebody with a better voice will respond. Way better than mine. Scholar says, Bed in the Woods. Yes, my romance novel is called Breakfast in Bed in the Woods. Na mniachane, your story siendelee sana. Ati Breakfast in the Woods. Why are you guys continuing this scandal? You when you mention you guys can't. Okay. Hata Miki bado anaendelea ati sounds like an interesting read. Okay, we hope it one day. I can't promise though. Okay, Oma says, Verah, tear some pages from your book for Gabriel to wipe his tears. Hey, he managed to get through. He didn't even shed a tear. I can't even see his eyes, so I can't even know whether he shed tears. Anyway, na hii mapenzi mmeleta kwa show yangu ni sawa tu. I can also mapenzi make up. Okay. Hiyo iko kwa kitabu. Anyway, so Abulasha says, have many stories to tell. Just write. I think that's what Gabriel will say. Just write. And finally, in Finalmo, Eunice Akinyi says, I have been running so fast today evening. How does that even go? Today evening? Today evening? Okay. Not because of the curfew, but to catch this session live. Wow. See who got there. Happy to see you, dear Fast Family. Yes. Hashtag Fast Family. Hashtag Fast Families Matter. Hashtag Familia Kina Uhuru. Let's come back to you. I've not read all the comments, so if I've not read your comment, just know that I'll be coming back to it in a bit. Keep your questions coming for these people. Verah, let's come to you. You have primarily, or for the longest part of your life, worked in editing or in a publishing setup, where you have met our stories when they have all the grammatical mistakes. Please don't tell people about my struggles with I am and am, but in their raw form. And Gabriel tells us to just write. Should we write with all those patogodanios and then you'll just deal with them?
Who deal with? First, you deal with them. Okay. It's interesting because first, I think I also got a little bit more confident with my writing because of the stories that sometimes you have to read and review and give feedback on. So you could have a story and you read and you're like, if this was submitted, then I could also, it's motivating on the downside. And you also read a lot of stories that challenge you to, this is really good. And I don't know if I'll ever get here, but I can try, they motivate you. So either way, it's a good thing. I mean, it's a balance in that it's not possible to always, if you're an editor, of course, you interact with all types of scripts which are going nowhere. Scripts which are, it's not just the grammar, of course, you know that by now. I mean, yeah, it's not just the grammar. If it's fiction, then we are talking about the story. Is there a story here? And sometimes there isn't a story, but there is good writing, or there are good sentences. Sometimes there is a very good story, but man, yeah, needs a lot of work. So it's a whole you. Don't laugh. I'm not going to talk about your little struggles, which are actually technical issues. Yeah, at that level, they're just technical. But it doesn't mean that you should submit your story with technical issues because someone else, you're looking at someone else looking at it. The danger with that is that most times, especially if you're working with traditional publishers, they will not read, they don't have the time to, review, uh, read the first sentence with glaring issues, grammatical or otherwise, So it's always good that the script that you're submitting is not your first draft, it's not your second draft, it's not even your third draft. And these drafts have been redone over some period of time where you've given them time to, it's not just in that moment. When you're writing, you could write, say, a short story in an hour, and you feel like this is the best that you could write. But then when you're reading it 2 days later, yeah, like, okay, it's not as good as I thought. It is okay. But if there is a story, you can always rework. You should always, not can, you should always work on your script so that the draft that you present to anyone, traditional or self-publishing, should be the best that you can do at that time or at that point. Yeah.
Douglas, would you allow
It's
me
interesting that.
would you allow me chip
Yes,
in
yes,
just
yes,
to, just capture something that Vera has mentioned? Actually, rightly so. She has said that you don't just bring what you have, that they sort it out. But I have something to share. I've seen my very good friend Lilian Mwinde, right? Just right. Gabriel's encouraging statements gives one the courage to explore the writing world. Douglas, I would wish to explain this in a, I don't know if you remember symbolism. Do you remember symbolism?
I know where you are going. Keep going.
I think, let's say, I would wish our marriage with Vera is symbolic in this line. Today, we were somewhere and someone asked us to introduce ourselves. And I said, my name is Gabriel Dinda. I'm a freelance writer and I write, Vera edits. I think I look at it this way. This is the symbolic aspect that I mean. I think our culture and how we grew up broke us so much that we needed something called affirmative action for us to start. Yeah. And this is what I mean. When you are in school, reading and writing was never for fun. It was never for knowledge. The only reason you are doing the two were to pass your KCSE or to pass your exams generally. Well, this could be different in some context, but generally speaking, this is where we are coming from. We are also coming from a future. Oh, no. We are also coming from a past where we are coming from a tradition of oral tradition, culture of telling stories orally. Our grandfathers didn't have a chance or didn't think writing the stories were important. So we are coming from this culture. Now, at this point, if someone is coming from this culture, I would say that um, there are also other aspects. Some other people also mentioned that maybe our publishers don't focus so much on the general reads, so there's so much focus on textbooks. For some people, Munira Hussein can be able to attest to this. Access to books is a luxury. You would not get access to books from where you are, maybe from primary to secondary to university. It is a challenge. So you realize that the people we are working with are so wounded. They don't recognize that they have their story. They have not come across other people telling their stories. They come from a culture where writing and reading is not appreciated. All this put together put our self-esteem or put self-esteem to the writers down. And this is the point where I think that this is my belief. This is the point where I think God asked that right. what Lillian is mentioning. Just write. So even though your grammar is not refined, just write. Even though your culture does not appreciate reading and writing, and hence no one may not buy your book, just write. Even though publishers or the channels that we have do not appreciate general reading, and therefore your book may not get a chance to see the light of the day, just write. Even though only your family members may be reading your blog every time you write, just write. So you see, this statement of just write, in my view, and I believe this is God's inspiration, was affirmative action to start us off. Yeah, to start us off before we get to Verah's desk, where they clean it up. So for me, I would give priority if you came to me and you told me that, hey, I have written this manuscript, but I don't like the language, or I don't think it is the best. I think we will talk. I will buy you tea. But if someone comes to me and tells me, I have this story and I think of writing it, I will just tell them, please go write it first, then you come back. So I think before we get to Verah's table, we start from here, where you just write, then we end up there. Because we can't refine what is not there. We have to be there first.
It's okay.
Yes.
Okay. Calm down. Calm down. It's fine.
I was actually just going to cut you short and ask you whether you've thought about being a politician. You sound like somebody who is campaigning somewhere in Gadon, somewhere in a village. But seriously, people should not just that. People should also try to write things that make sense. Not try something like I took a cup of tea, then I went to school. Jamaneni. But anyway, if you took a cup of tea, also keep talking it.
Yes, but Douglas, I think we start from there. Then you tell someone that instead of saying I took a cup of tea and I went to school, write it I went to school. We start from there. So I'm not saying that people should should write substandard articles or substandard books, but my point is, let's give priority to writing. Then self-editing. Before you give it out to an editor, look at it, give it to your friends or people close to you. So follow the due process, but give priority to writing.
Have you thought about being a politician, by the way?
Douglas, all human beings by their very nature are political. So even you are a politician.
You look like you can give us as you loot our money. You look like you can do very well in that sector. Anyway, just right. Even if the story is about breakfast in bed in the woods, just right. Now I hope somebody hashtag breakfast in bed in the woods. Hashtag feminism. Now don't even follow my hashtags. My hashtags can really be misleading. Because last week I had a hashtag about let's drink tea. Was it even last week or the week before? Now, Verah, let me come back to you a bit. Gabriel has taken this to a very serious note until I can see the questions in the comment box as candles. So let's come back to books a bit, and also more of what you do as a person. Before I attack your personal life and leave books alone in just a minute. So you've written quite a few books, and you've written in two different areas. You've written books that are meant for academic purposes, that is course books or revision books, and a lot of those. And then you've written also books that are meant for general society consumption. How do you find the reception for each of them? That's number one. Number two, how do you balance between writing for students or for pupils and also writing for idiots like myself?
Wow, okay. I should have mentioned that I am a teacher by profession. Well, what else can I be a teacher by? I don't know, but they say
You're a trained teacher.
Okay. Yeah, so I am a teacher. So my way of teaching or not wasting my 4 years, well, they could never really be a waste, but my way of teaching or instruction is by writing. School related materials or content. And but my primary love is in fiction. So it's not even an issue of balance. It's what needs to be done or what I get pulled into, because most of the school related content is commissioned. So that means that if a publisher approaches you and tells you they wish to for you to take part in this project, to write for this level, then you can do it. As but my fiction writing is just almost flawless, at least most of the time on good days. That is. So it's not a struggle, it's not a balance. It's just like asking me how do I manage to eat and shower every day, it's not a struggle, it's not an issue.
I have to also say to my viewers that not everybody manages to eat and shower every day. Of course, we all eat every day, but we don't shower every day.
There was another part.
Now, hashtag water conservation, hashtag sustainability. Kama look, kama nimekaa kwa nyumba the whole day, sijatoka nje, sijaenda kuchafuka, mbona naoga? Ni nini imenichafua? Anyways, we shall come back to that.
I forgot
Yes.
to talk about the reception. Of course, we have talked about this in very many platforms, about the school market and we call it the general public, or books meant for general reading, like say motivational reading, or related, and like this is say for general public, although it can be read in schools but not mainstream. But you get the difference. But the reception is always that we are coming from a traditional setup where, as Gabriel mentioned, we went to school to read and pass exams, then and have a good life. Yeah, that was the script, really, largely. So books meant for schools are sort of, it's a direct chain. The book gets from the publisher through the marketing channels, gets to schools, or sometimes in recent cases in the new curriculum goes through the government, and then they do their own distribution to schools. So that's quite clear. But to do with the general public, we are still I don't want to say struggling, because I hate that statement of Kenyans are not readers, So Kenyans don't read. Which Kenyans? Kenyans means it's a whole pool of everyone living in Kenya, or a citizen of this country. So I don't want to go there. But this book's meant for the general public. It's still some sort of, people are still struggling, those who are not readers, or who did not get cultured by the environment or themselves or their teachers to read for reading's sake, not for exams. Yeah. So it's not as seamless as that, but I would say, in my opinion, the space is quite opening, and every day there is, you see posts about what people are reading. There are all these people sharing books, and I am encouraged every day that the reading and writing platform in Kenya is quite opening up. People who have not been reading, or did not grow up reading, are starting to read, and it's quite encouraging. So on the reception, it's very different, of course, because of the market. The markets are somewhat different, not entirely or necessarily, but we are trying as a country. As the Minister of Reading, we are trying.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you the reading cabinet, the reading and writing cabinet. The minister is Gabriel, the assistant is Verah, and already they have embezzled 10 million shillings.
The assistant. See?
Oh, he's the assistant, you are the minister.
I said I'm the minister now. Why are you taking it away from me?
Okay, then I'm going to do this as fair as I can. You are the minister, he's the cabinet secretary. Does that even make sense? You guys can just figure it out. By the way, I was trying to guess. I was trying to guess who pays for supper between the two of you when you are having supper,
Who
and
is,
I don't think Gabriel pays.
you don't think?
Gabriel does not look like he prays for the food. I think he starts eating immediately. You pray for the food, he starts eating immediately. or you
No.
guys don't pray for the food. Anyway.
Why are you stereotyping? I'm actually the boss around here, so well, you
You
might
are the
actually
boss.
sorry.
You call the shots.
Okay, what I'm saying is that you are stereotyping that he doesn't cook, he waits for the food. Is that the case? Let him say, let him say how it goes on around here.
No,
Who cooks?
somebody's putting words in my mouth.
It's you. So who cooks?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Huh? I'm still thinking of an interesting angle.
That discussion has been cancelled for public interest. Now, a few comments though. Washington Ayodi is saying greetings to the first family, and you, Logedi, following. You did not greet my cup of tea, so rasifikisha salamu zako, because that is not fair to my cup of tea. Omwa says, wow, 3031, that's 331, that's huge. Yes, that's huge. That's exactly the expression I had on my face when I saw that. Of course, if you can see it. Just right. Gabriel's encouraging statement gives one courage to explore the writing world. Yes, Lillian. Gabriel can encourage you to to do things that you don't even think you can do. And I've just removed him from the screen so that he can also get himself a cup of tea as I read these comments. Eunice says, Lakini Douglas Logedi, there's a way we can always meet online with some of these celebs. It's as in a way we do it with online ecclesias. This is mean Jermaine. I don't know how. I can make you meet with all these celebs, Eunice. You only need to be my friend. You should know people. You should know people. You should know me. I am people. Okay. Omar says many debut writers are afraid to show their work and feel intimidated by established writers. How do you help boost their self-esteem? I'll be posing that question to Gabriel. I believe he's the best person to respond to that. Eunice says, I write, Verah edits, Moto kama pasi. Yes, Moto kama pasi. Verah, kindly don't log out without mentioning how it feels like to get married to a writer. Ololo ya ye. Hii inaenda kwa scandal kubwa. Eunice, hii nayo umechoma. But let's wait and see. Omar says, Ashers and writers. I believe that is referring to Gabriel. Ash continues and says, is there a part of your house or day where writing is not discussed, e.g. Mondays? Okay, this is another scandal. I'll be posting that to the first family to tell us whether there's any part of their lives where writing is not discussed. Hi, Verah. So tell me, given two choices, would you end up in class teaching or in a publishing house writing and editing? Apo metesa Verah, but she'll respond in a bit. I had a dream, and that I had published a 500-page book called How to Write, and inside every were two words and an exclamation mark, just right. It was a New York-based, Times-based publisher, bestseller, and bought a castle by the beach with the royalties. I think someone must be taking this dream up because clearly Omwa is thinking there's a lot of money in this word, just right, and that exclamation mark. And when you start selling that book, kindly give me my share because I made the statement famous. Hashtag Douglas Life Matters. Hashtag Mansion by the Sea. Now, so anyway, before I bring my guests back, Writers Guild Kenya is running a writing class. The writing class is called Write Your Passion. Now, we did a whole show about Write Your Passion last week, where I brought you some people who have either taught in this class or been part of this class. And I also brought you my boss, who is apparently the manager of that class, if I'm on this show today, it means I wasn't fired. So we are doing really well. So when I bring back my guests, the first question I want to post directly to, I don't know whom I should post it to. I think I'll post it to Verah. I don't know. I'll figure out who to post it to. But then I'll post it to Gabriel. And then I'll just ask him in 30 seconds to tell us what Write Your Passion is. Then I'll show you a very short clip that tells you a very short story about Write Your Passion. Then I'll put the person in that clip on the spot to tell us about it. So I want to welcome back my guests, and I hope they have a cup of tea with them because I have mine. Okay, so guys, welcome back. Gabriel is staying healthy. He's just drinking water. The rest of us, my friend, the rest of us are drinking real drinks. Anyways, yes, tea is a real drink. Now, see, argue your constitution, by the way.
Sawa, chapter 6.
Is in the constitution. Don't even argue. Gabriel, tell us about Write Your Passion. What is this monster or this child called Write Your Passion? In 30 seconds before I show my guests something here or my people.
Perfect. I'm going to ask a question. I would ask, I know someone will Google, but if you're honest with yourself, don't do that. Just who said these words? How could you have lived yet you don't have a story to tell?
And have no story.
Oh, yes. How would you have lived and have no story to tell? So you can type the answer of the person who said those quotes in the chat, and Douglas, you will choose one, and they'll get a gift of Questions of My Youth. Well, Write Your Passion is on that.
Can somebody say the person who said those words is Gabriel? We have to be clear. Can somebody say the person who said those words is Gabriel?
No. Other than Gabriel, the original, the person who said them originally.
We have to be very clear. So, there's a book waiting for you. Answers.
So, Write Your Passion is based on that. We are asking a question. How are you passionate about what you love, yet you have not written it? How Write Your Passion is to help you write your passion, literally. That which you value, that which keeps you going every morning, that which keeps you waking up, write it. And why do you need to write it? First, when we write our stories, we connect more. We reach out to more people. People get to understand us more. So Write Your Passion is a program, a 6 weeks program that was designed by Writers Guild to help writers start off writing their passion or writing what they value most.
It's very interesting that you talk about that. Now, there's a clip that I like playing, and let me see whether I'll find that. Okay, let me see whether I can find it with the audio. But then, just before I play this clip, there's a class starting tomorrow, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about that class, and can I join?
Yes. So Write Your Passion was started. We had the first class in 2019, November, and I've seen Lilian Muinde, who was one of the graduates in the first class, and Lilian now blogs at wheelsoftimes.wordpress.com. You may need to check it out and see what Lilian does. I've also seen Mwalimu Ngugi Karoki, who took part in the third cohort, which was in the second cohort, which was in February. So we had the first cohort in November, we had the second cohort in February, then we had the third cohort in June, and starting tomorrow, we are having the fourth cohort. So this is an intimate group of 20 writers coming together to help each other tell their story. And the course is designed in a way that it is personal, and you get personal attention and that you need to start you off. So for the tomorrow's class, unfortunately, it is full. And so we are not, as sad as it sounds, we are not accepting anyone. But should you feel that you really need to be part of it, then you can reach out tomorrow morning at 7. Then we will be able to decide what to do. But the class is full. So the next class that someone can take part in is the November class. Yeah.
It's interesting that the class is full, because then, say that again.
So anyone who is interested and they feel they need to be part of this can reach out through the number down, 0751562750 at 7 tomorrow, because the class will start at 9. Yeah, but the class is full. They should.
Perfect. I just thought I'd ask you that before we continue. Now, my video has refused to play the audio, so Verah, I will not put Verah on the spot. I wanted to play her, herself back, and she would have gotten surprised at how I got to grab her, her image.
Hi.
Just for sure. That is the one.
Story? Do you have an experience you wish people read? Do you have knowledge in an area you wish people understood better? Do you have a
so I can't play that because you can't hear the audio, right? We can just see the people, but you can't.
We can.
You can hear the audio.
Yes. So
okay, so I'll be playing. I thought I had the audio, so I was just trying to not scandalize people and play for them something that is not playing. Anyway, so if it is playing as I wish it to play, then let's have a watch. Let's see. This is how we do it. Good. Enjoy.
My name is Verah Omwocha from the Writers Guild Kenya. I am the publishing manager. Now, for the 5 years we've been in the business of growing and mentoring young and upcoming writers, we have met writers of different ages, different experiences, amazing stories to tell, people who have vast knowledge in different fields, the elderly, and they all have a common problem. They have a story to tell, but they don't know how. So we keep answering these questions. How do I tell my story? How do I come up with a book? How do I do this? And how do I discover what I can do with my writing? The Writers Guild Kenya has come up with a 5-module intensive writing course starting October this year to help you write your passion. So this course will not only help you navigate the field of writing, it will teach you what more you can do with your writing, what more you can achieve with your writing, and how you can tell your story in a palatable way that will get you readers. Not only that, it will also help you discover how can you make money out of this writing passion. That's what we seek to do through this course, and we seek to solve your problem. So this course will be offered at the Strathmore University starting October every Saturday for 5 weeks. You are most welcome. Click on the link below for more details and register today. We are looking forward to having you and to learn with you.
Now, that's how we create scandals. That's how we create scandals. So the class is full, but you reach out at 7 tomorrow. He didn't say whether it's 7 a.m. or p.m. You can be considered. I believe a.m. So try and a.m. Correct? Correct. So try and reach out at 7 a.m. So away from Writers Guild, let's now delve into these two people before me. Verah, you have written a book called Diary of a Miaha.
It's there.
I want you to take
the article.
Exactly. That book is my side girlfriend. I love that book. Now, tell us a bit about the book and what is the book basically about. I mean, if somebody wants to buy it, they want to know what it's about, right?
Yeah. Wow. So, where do I even start? I mean, the whole book is a summary of what it's about. Okay. Let me start by reading the blurb. It's called Diary of the the only one. I hope. Okay, so Miaha is a Beluo word meaning a recently married woman. Uh, and this is a story of a young girl lost in a world too big for her petite body and unwelcome ideas. A girl trying to understand the love of God and her husband's. It's about a girl who is trying to fix puzzles to understand why she's here and to do what she was sent to do. It's about a girl on a journey to finding herself, to healing the child in her, to finding peace, and digging deep into her soul to find forgiveness and hand it to the world. Is marriage welcoming of a young girl, broken in so many ways? She asks. So that's short about the book, and largely it's about. I started writing this as a marriage experience. We had been married then by
For 1 year.
for 1 year, no less,
Okay.
actually a couple of months when I started thinking about writing it, or when I thought about, putting together some of these experiences, because we started off, or we have had quite an interesting experience journey to getting married and post, even though a couple of months. So I thought, how about, is it possible to share these experiences, which was very different for me because I am ordinarily not the sharing person as much. Oh, it depends on who, but not with everyone. I mean, certainly not through a book. And so I started writing these experiences about our joke of a wedding, our joke of honeymoon, and then now the seriousness of being married, actually being married. So, and then we had ideas, we had different, perceptions, because I think we are, um, we, oh, okay, I've lost it, sorry. Because our experiences or our thoughts, thoughts around some of these areas are sort of unique to us, or we try to think outside what is considered the norm or what people should do. What age should you get married and why? How many children and why? And all those kinds of things. But when I started writing, and I started writing different pieces, so it wasn't like a whole book. I hardly ever sat in front of a computer to write the book. I was typing out memories, conversations on my phone randomly, and then I realized I was delving into, you know, this person. I was hashtag finding myself. Loving the woman I was becoming. So I found these experiences, these ideas and thoughts were taking me way back to when I was a child, and different experiences, rape experiences, societal experiences, my kind of family, the kind of family ideas I had, growing up, borrowing from my immediate environment, which now I can say, I hope, okay, I don't care. It's fine if my village mates are watching, but I thought my kind of village, or where I grew up, was one of the most toxic places to grow up, especially if, being a child and you're growing up and you end up in some family, maybe, not as a necessity, of course, if you choose to, or if you find yourself on that path. So because there was a lot of violence, there was a lot of, wife beating is just, just sort of the norm, and all these things. So I started questioning a lot of this, and my idea of the kind of men that I knew back then. I mean, a lot of them, not all of them, certainly. And this man that I met here, who was very kind, who was very understanding, who was very loving, who was so much of everything that I didn't think, I thought, okay, I don't want to say different, but it was was special in a very weird way. and a special a genuine kind of special. So I thought, actually, maybe not. I mean, then I started thinking perhaps it's not always the case of thinking that men are one species that have one brain, or women have one brain and they act in this way, or they do this because of this, or they have to do this because of men. So all these ideas, I put them together. So I wrote about our wedding and, my first thoughts on what does it mean to be married, and this now start sharing our lives and our different personalities, and now starting things like who cooks, in this modern world, who cooks and why, and I also talk about um, my reading and writing a bit of it, and because I think my life is shaped, a large chunk of it is shaped by the books that I've interacted with since I was a child. I talk about you know religion a lot. Yeah, someone told me this book is too religious. Totally, I don't know. I don't know what is the measure of. Oh well, that's was their perception of it, which is okay. And then I talk about funny. So it's funny that I also talk about lessons. Okay, there are actually about three life lessons, and not in conclusion, but what can we learn? More like future life lessons. Yeah, yeah. and and it's just about healing, about thinking about myself, growing, healing, and what else? Yeah, and learning, growth. Yeah, it's also largely about growth.
Now, listening to you talk about this book, I was just letting you go on and on because it shows just how passionate you are about this story. Also, for my viewers, get someone who looks at you like the way Gabriel looks at Vera when she's speaking. Beautiful.
Wacha
Hashtag
hizo
married
bana.
couples are good.
Wacha hizo. Not
Um,
content for your
if
romantic.
anyone else noticed how he was looking and how interesting that was, I was just smiling. I was happy. Kwanza when you said he was special in a way, alikuangalia zile za asito. That is even me. Anyway, I'm not going to bring any more candles to this family. I'm going to try and be very nice. Now, this book, this book is something that I really recommend for everyone who, and Vera talks a lot about before you say I do and after you say these two very beautiful and very interesting, complicated words. I mean, a lot of things about you could really do with before and after you get married. So if you've not bought this book, kindly go and buy it. Wait, kindly go and buy it from where? Where do these people buy this book from again?
Yeah, the number down below. Right.
The number, okay, the number below there.
Yeah.
You can also go to the website, writersguild.co.ke. And before I got back to Gabriel, Vera, tell us about something called Books and Life.
Oh, well, I started writing about all these books that I find myself reading, which I think everyone should read. So I've been writing reviews about reviews on different books, just random reads or recommended reads, or books I find interesting, or books I interact with. Not necessarily they don't necessarily have to be my favorite reads. Yes. So I blog about it, though I haven't blogged in a while. I was on a break. I'll be coming back shortly after this interview.
It will be back after the break. So yeah, so Books and Life, in very many short words, it's her blog, and she tries to help you if you've not, you don't know how to select a book to read. You can just read a brief about the books that she's read, and then you can choose one of them. Also, she has reviewed my book, so you can go and check it out there before you read. Anyway, hiyo ni siasa mingi sana. Now, Gabriel, one of the things that Writers Guild has helped people with a lot is self-publishing. I can tell you for free that self-publishing was not a big concept when I was a little bit younger than I am now. Well, I'm still very young. In the words of our constitution, I'm still a baby. But when I was still an embryo, if I'm still a baby, what was I 10 years ago? Anyway, I even have a baby face. Hey, this one may make your baby sleep even if she doesn't want to. Now, Writers Guild has helped people to embrace self-publishing, and you went ahead and wrote a book about, self-publishing, and I'll just call it Essentials of Self-Publishing. I'll be coming to questions of my youth in a minute, but I want you to tell us in a nutshell, what are you trying to tell through this book about self-publishing? What message are you trying to drive?
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. I think even before I go to self-publishing, I have to mention, a word or two about Diary of the Miaha. And this book, I've quoted it in an interview I did recently that this is my best book. And when I mentioned that, I think some people thought that I'm just saying that to keep my marriage intact. But that was not the case. I meant every word of it.
Marriages must last.
Yeah, sometimes you say something out there, then when you come back, you have trouble explaining yourself. So many people thought that is the case here. But I truly appreciate this book because I read it when it was a manuscript. Actually, it was smaller than it is. And when I was reading it, I thought, I think this book should be out. It should be out sooner than everyone else thinks. So I truly appreciate this book. And after it was published, I've read it twice. I started the year by reading the book, and I always recommend it for I would say people in the same circumstances as us, and this would mean those who are looking to settle in life, I would say, or those who just started off and have some questions, some of these troubling questions every time. Like when we are doing book reading of Diary of the Miaha, people ask, where did you get the courage to tell your stories of your childhood, the darknesses of your childhood and the darknesses of the environment in which you grew up in? These are some of the questions that many people are asking, but the book gives you some bit of confidence to look at them. I recommend this book to especially young ladies. Those, young ladies, I would say 18 and between 18 years and 30, you should get Diary of the Miaha. Regarding the question that Douglas asked, when Writers Guild was started, our wish was, as I mentioned earlier, was to help people to tell their stories, to help people to just write. That was our wish, and still is our wish. Well, and in this journey, we experienced a number of challenges. We grew writers, but then sooner or later they would come back and ask, I took part in this, I submitted my manuscript here, I believe it is good, but then there is you realize that they didn't manage to succeed to publish or to get an outlet channel. Actually, our wish was an outlet channel. So in 2016, we thought of self-publishing as an area where we can be able to guide our writers either to do it on their own, or we help them to do it so that we can be able to increase the outlet channels that we have, so that we don't go back to the pain we were running away from of people not telling their stories, or of people having stories remaining in their desktops. or people having stories handwritten somewhere in their houses. That's what we were running away from. And we thought self-publishing or guiding people in the same would give them a leeway or to learn more and to try something. So it is on that background, and especially on one circumstance where a friend of mine called me one time, and I've captured that story in the book, called me one time and told me that he has published, he published and printed a book on it. He did all this on his own. He didn't get a professional to help them with the process. So he did all this on their own. He did all this on his own. He organized a launch. I think the budget for the launch was about 50,000, if I'm not wrong. And then one time he calls me and tells me I printed 1,000 books and I have 980 in the house. But that is not even where the story is. The story is there was an accident with water in the house and all of them are soaked. Yeah. So I looked at this as a bigger problem that we have out there. People wanting to tell their stories, but they don't know. They miss some things. Like this gentleman, he didn't know about the concept of print on demand, where they can just print the number of books they want and then they sell. So many people also were reaching out asking, I have this manuscript, how can I write it? How can I publish it? I've written this, which publisher can accept it? So there were so many questions on the same. It is on that background that I was inspired, especially by this gentleman, to put the answers to these books down as best as I could at that time. That was in May 2018. And then it came as a practical guide to self-publishing. I thought it would be practical so that because there is so much information about self-publishing online, but for most people it is contextual and it is not practical. So I wanted to make this contextual in Kenya and as practical as possible and a small read. So you just sit down for an hour, because the idea is not that you be a professional in publishing, but just to know the process so that you can be able to use this avenue as a channel to tell your story. So it is on that background that this book came to be. And some people have appreciated, I've benefited from the knowledge that is shared in there.
I am putting my reputation behind this book and saying, if you buy that book and it doesn't help you in terms of your publishing and your writing journey, never listen to me again, or never listen to what I'm saying another time. I am putting my whole reputation behind it because I have read it, and I wish I had read it even before I published my book, because then it has very interesting information. Before I come to questions of my youth, I have some questions from Scandalous people here, and I just want to, in line with what you just said, to answer them. So just note them down quickly. Omar asked a while ago that some of the debut writers feel intimidated by the established writers. How do you boost their self-esteem? So Gabriel, note that down. You'll be responding to it in a minute. Verah, this is a very personal question from Eunice. She said, before you go, remember to mention how it feels like to get married to a writer. I can summarize that in a very short word. It feels exactly how it feels like to get married to a taarab singer. Anaweza kuimba wakati wowote. Omar also asked, I believe, Verah, this is for you. Is there a part of your house or day where writing is not discussed, e.g. Mondays? So Verah, that is for you. Eunice asked Verah to another question. Given two choices, would you end up teaching in a classroom or publishing, writing and editing? Where would you go? And you have to choose only one. So this is very interesting. I'm also waiting to see where you would go. Omwa talked about, of course, the dream of writing a whole 500-page book with just 2 words and an exclamation. Just write. Hata kama story yako ni breakfast in bed in the woods, just write. No, don't write that one. That one please don't write it. And then this question was for Verah. How long did it take you to write your book? And what were some of the challenges in finishing and publishing the book? So let's start with Gabriel, because yours is a very short question and Verah's are very many. Yours is here. Many debut writers feel intimidated. How do you boost self-esteem? Very quickly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. The first thing that we always recommend to our writers is we have to appreciate the learning curve, or the process of growing in this. So Writers Guild is very patient with its writers. You will attest, probably, or anyone who is watching, that if you came to Writers Guild, first we value you as a person. We value you as a person, and we believe in you, that you have a story, and we will be as patient as it takes to help you tell this story. So what we do to help them, boost their self-esteem, is to value them as human beings. Then recognize that they have a story, and recognize that all of us have different learning journeys. So someone could come to Writers Guild, and then after a few months, their books are ready. Like Julie, like Nkirote Kinoti, just came in February, and her book is out. For some people, they could take longer. We recognize that. So in the process, as we understand you and value you as a person, we invite you to events and open sessions that we organize, like Writers Ecclesia, where you meet other people and probably hear the experiences of others, and you realize that they are struggling as much as you are struggling. So with this, with time, your confidence is boosted. And also we connect you to opportunities, try this here. Try to reach out to our mentors. Here I see they've been called established writers. They are willing to reach out. So we try our best based on the value we believe that you have as a person, and the story that we believe that you have, that we help you to write. So that, and coupled with our patience with our writers, and the personal touch that we have with them, somehow most of them have gotten the courage to write. And the last time when Unia was here, she mentioned something to that effect, that someone believed in her work, and then she came to Writers Guild and met people like Verah, who were editing her work, correcting her, and somehow she got the confidence and she got the wings to fly. So that is what we replicate to other writers.
This is Nkirote's book. This is the one who joined just this year and has already published. It's called Desire. I've read it cover to cover. I read it while traveling, cover to cover. Very, very beautiful poems. Very beautiful writings. Yeah, you should get it. I'll get it to my baby Samantha. She's not my child, but I love her in terms of the art that she does. Now, Verah, questions to you. This one we are going to go through it very fast. How does it feel to get married to a writer? This one you have to answer very fast. If you stay here, you'll get yourself in trouble.
Well, it's nice to wake up to emails. It's nice to receive random handwritten letters. It's great, fantastic, awesome.
And Douglas, I have to say that what is out there as what we've written, both on Verah's portfolio and my portfolio, is not even a third of what we've written, which is inside the house. It's not even a third.
Okay. I'm starting a petition in the comment box. Operation Tourism to Gabriel's house. we are coming for that content. You can't hide content from us. You can. Okay, she said that it's very beautiful to wake up to letters. I wonder what somebody who is married to a cop says. It's very beautiful to wake up to commands. Anyways, or guns, I don't know. Oma asks, is there a part of your house or day that is not writing, where writing is not discussed?
Answer that.
I have a feeling that
yes.
Is there,
actually,
Gabriel?
Yes, actually, you'd be surprised that we don't discuss writing and reading as much as someone would think. Douglas, before we are writers, we are human beings. That we have to know. So we have tried, to restrict the discussions regarding writing and reading. There was a time when we capped it until 5. At 5, we don't discuss, especially something, professional. So we restricted further discussions on probably our writing or our experiences, but we capped it at that. So, well, we don't have a specific day that today we are not talking about writing or reading, but we recognize that we are human beings first, and we can't talk about writing all the time.
That is good for you. In my house, there's no time when we are not drinking tea. That always happens. Somebody asked here, given 2 choices, Vera, would you be in class teaching or publishing?
If there was a chance for both, I would. I love them both. So if there was a chance for both, I would take it up.
If you are,
I would do either anytime.
if you are to just choose one,
must I choose? Sometimes life is a cocktail.
Well, I think it is teaching or publishing through teaching.
Yeah, publishing through teaching. Okay, I don't know.
Okay, or teaching publishing. Okay, teaching a publishing course.
I think the best answer is
tomorrow.
So
yeah.
Okay. The scandalous owner asks, how long did it take you to write your book, and what are some of the challenges in finishing and publishing it? Verah?
Sadly, I didn't track how long it took me because it was very random. But I would say an approximate of.
I think
I'm trying to give an answer.
My memory fails me.
Me too. I really can't remember. Less than a year.
Gabriel does not agree with your sense of time. Your sense of Vera anaweza sema you've just been married for a week. Gabriel disagrees with your sense of time. Munira will say, at look.
Challenges. Okay.
Yes.
She also asked about the challenges. Sorry?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
What else? It was just challenges.
Yeah.
And I am at this point where I think we have, as writers, we have talked enough about challenges. So I wish that we move on. We are always talking about challenges.
I had strategically made not respect that.
We finished the book.
Munira is asking, look who is tuning in just now. How much did I miss? Of course, you missed my romance novel. You will never hear about that novel again. And Warit Indoshi, the best of memoirs I read today. I have been reading and reading it every day. It has good lessons. I believe that's about Diary of Miaha.
Thank you.
Mickey is just telling Munira that she missed my romance novel. Munira, that's a scam. Don't even listen to what they are talking about. It's a big scam. Now, Gabriel, you have written another book called Questions to My Youth. Questions to My Youth. Tell us about that book.
I'm the poster.
Well, I think we need to see you because you're part of the questions.
Oh my goodness. No, last I checked, I was part of the answers.
Yes. I think some, I don't know where this was, but someone asked a very interesting question that now that I'm married, have some of the questions been answered by Vera?
Yeah, I actually think I've done pretty well.
Well, Douglas, as I didn't realize this until I enrolled to a philosophy class, that I'm very observant and I'm affected a lot by my environment. Every time I take a walk, every time I go to town and I see something, I think more about it. Like today we were somewhere with Vera And I was just, we saw very nice tiles in the place, and we were just saying, well, there was a very nice tiles and also very nice ceiling board. And so we were asking, I asked her that, how, just look at how we are admiring these tiles. But can we, for a moment, maybe think of the person who put them here? Like, who is he? Look at
Or
it,
she.
or she, yeah, or she. We would probably never know it or her. But look at what we are admiring. We are admiring the tiles. So something as little as a tile or as little as a beautiful sailing board makes me think. And that is the basis of questions of my youth. Every time, because I've interacted with many young people, mostly of my age or slightly around my age, and I see some inconsistencies. Yeah, I see probably what I mentioned earlier. All of us have 24 hours, but depending on how we use it, there are different results. So from there, I ask a question: where does your 24 hours go? Well, I see, many people doing things which I would call crazy things in the name of enjoying life. One time I saw some gentleman bare-chested in the morning at around 6. Yeah, and it was so cold in the name of enjoying life because it's just from a bash. So I asked, what is the definition of enjoying life again? Doesn't this person just need a sweater? Yeah. I look at life, so it has questions. One time I went to town on a Valentine's Day and I found town red, literally. Yeah. And maybe you've had this experience as well. And then I ask, what if we treated our dreams with so much seriousness like we treat Valentine's Day, especially for most people in Nairobi? So I ask, what if our dreams are our Valentines, so that we would think of them, we would package gifts for them. Then one time I went for a meeting, and the meeting couldn't pick up just because one of the people who was in the meeting kept touching on their phone and looking at updates. And then I asked, who will save us from phone distractions? So all these are questions that I ask with a view to encourage people, especially young people, to think or rethink some of the things that are normal to us. In fact, the ending of the book is take a moment and think through everything that you do. So if I ask you, for instance, very simple questions, Douglas, very simple questions around us. If we just took a moment to think slightly more about them, probably we would get a different perspective of what we do. So the questions are short, probably a page or a page and a half, because I know the people this book targets are impatient and probably they have perceived so many things to do, of which one of the questions here are we as busy as we think? Yeah, so those are just questions and inconsistencies that I see around myself, and then I take the experiences and extract some questions to help people reflect and think about them. So that is all this book is about. Some people think it is a philosophical book, but one time when I took it to a philosophy class, the philosophers there dismissed it as if they said that if it were to be a philosophy book, then the philosopher would be so immature. Yeah, so for some they think it is a philosophy book, for some they think it is not mature enough to be philosophy, and I don't know what you think, Douglas.
I think the book is a cocktail. I'm just trying to give you one of your answers back. Now, would you guys believe it? We are almost 2 hours into the show. This show should only go for 1.5 hours. We are only almost 2 hours in, and I don't even know where those 2 hours have gone to. And I feel like we even need to restart this show again for Munira, who has missed 1 hour of the show. So let's try to conclude in a very interesting manner, because then I want people to understand, and I'll break down to people what we've just discussed, because we've talked about Writers Guild, we talked about the programs that Writers Guild does, we talked about Verah and her editing escapades. Are they escapades or escapades? Whatever. We've talked about your work, the writings that you do, and everything else. For the next 5 minutes, let's talk about you as people, because then what my audience is hearing is books, writing, books, reading. Just write, please write, read, write well, and scandals. Now, let's talk about you guys as people. And the question really that I want to ask you is, how do you spend your time together when you're not reading?
Okay. We spend our time together like people, and that is like normal people, should I say? But maybe there aren't normal people. And that means doing what humans usually do, which is revolving around fun activities, food, food.
Of course, food. Of course.
There's just a lot of things here and there.
Well, Douglas, that question is very, it's very cheeky. It's very, I would call it very angeli. Yeah?
But as cheeky as I intended it to be.
But Douglas, first we have different things that we do. We have some programs that we try to follow. For instance, we always have something called family book club, where we together, the two of us or any other person who is with us in the house joins every night. Sometimes we miss, but the intention is to have it every night, to read one book and discuss it. So this has been a very good thing that we do together. So the family book club is something that comes to mind as you ask this. But also, it's always very interesting.
Walking in park.
Yeah. we do like Verah answered. We do normal things, ordinary things. So that is what we do. Yeah.
I love once in a while putting people on the spot to a point that they don't really know which answer I'm looking for, which is always so much fun.
You are looking for us.
That is the kind of situation you guys had.
Yeah, but the bottom line,
looking for specific answers.
We always enjoy the company of each other.
Absolutely.
Verah is very bright, very, very bright. And when she says that, books raised her, sometimes she would be speaking and then she quotes people you've never heard of. If we were to quote Douglas, you and I, we would just quote Mandela. We quote Martin Luther King. Yeah, but apparently Verah's created such connection with characters in books that she can quote them. Yeah. So she's very bright. So we always enjoy the company of each other, talking about ideas when we are reading something, or when we do individual readings as well. So when we read something and we find it interesting, we share it with each other and we discuss it. Like today, Verah shared with me a book that she's reading. It's not around, but the book is Unnecessary Woman. And there was a bit there how we try to explain everything in life. So when she shared with me and told me to just read through these paragraphs and then we discuss, we always enjoy the moments when we just eat, and maybe a meal that maybe should take 10 minutes ends up taking 2-3 hours. and a lot of discussion in between, a lot of understanding, getting to know each other in between in a way that you'd not schedule. Actually, that is the word. In a way that you would not schedule.
Interesting. Now, I don't know whether you've ever met someone who drinks tea and then uses a toothpick. So that's me, Use a toothpick after drinking tea. I'm using a toothpick after drinking tea. Now, Gabriel, so I want to conclude this, and I want to conclude this in a very interesting way. And I want to conclude this by each of you reading for us a paragraph or a passage from your books. But let's do it in an interesting way. So you are going to read for us a paragraph from Diary of Amiaha, and Verah is going to read for us a paragraph from Questions to My Youth, of My Youth. That's going to be so much fun. So do the swapping, because that's clearly has to happen. So yes, so that nobody picks their favorites. So we'll do that, and then of course you'll do some closing remarks, then you can close, but not before I ask you a very, very, very controversial question. I have a very controversial question for you. So as you get the paragraphs to read, just a few more comments. Ambulatia and Munira, I'm going to have to shoot one of you. They're still discussing my romance novel, which is quite interesting. Abulatia is saying he was served breakfast in bed in the woods. What? It was not me who was served. The book is about some breakfast in bed in the woods. I didn't say who was served, and I've just removed my guests from the screen so that they can get their passages in peace. Uma says, love has no timelines. I believe that is in regards to how Gabriel and Verah spend their time together, trying to know each other in ways that you cannot schedule. And then she says she'll catch the rest later. She's just run off. You just left us when you want to do a book reading, then we continue. Now, as they get their quotes, I have very interesting guests for you next week. So I'll be telling you more about those guests in a minute. Now, I believe my guests today should be ready to read passages from their respective books. And I'm going to take myself off the screen so that we'll start with whoever chooses to start, and then we'll go to the other so that you guys can on the screen. So it's your time.
Go ahead.
Let me start. Okay. Is it me?
Okay.
Yeah, better. I'm reading from question 38, and the title is, What do you have in your hands? It's perhaps not the first time you are hearing of the phrase, what do you have in your hands? I have heard and talked of it a number of times. It seems to me that everyone has something in their hands. Only dead people have nothing in their hands. The fact that you're reading this proves that you are alive. That means you have something in your hands. What is it? Can you see it? Sometimes I ask myself, what do campus students have in their hands? Numerous university facilities, lecturers, fellow students, academic advisors, corporate partners, a clear mind, space to innovate, disposable time, student leaders, name it. What do you have with this? What do we do with these numerous things that we have in our hands? Do we use them optimally? If one has a class from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and they are free for the rest of the day, what do they do from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.? Some of us visit friends, others watch movies, others do nothing, just talk and pass time as they await the next class the next day. Could it be that fortunes lie in the use of this time when we are not required to do something specific? As stated elsewhere in this book, if you choose to attend a forum, event, or seminar, you can find or meet new friends and get to learn new ideas, which can put you ahead of others who are not conscious of what they have in their hands. What does an unemployed person have in their hands? Numerous. Social media, time to attend events, neighbors, family, friends, name it. How do we choose to use these resources that we have? Do we really want what we want? Opportunities are outside, not inside of our houses. Get out and get them. I have hardly ever seen someone who was looking for something so badly and lacked it. If you really want something, you will have it at whichever stage you are at. Like there is something you have. You might be despising it, like Moses looked down upon his rod. But see how God used the rod. That little thing could get you the job. It could start your journey to your purpose. It could light a fire in you to start a whole new thing. Look at your hands more consciously and make good use of what you have.
Wow. I think, I don't know if this is part of the reading, but I was writing this from a very personal point of view that we always have some things in our hands. We have phones, we have internet connection, we have things in our hands, but how do we use them? That is the question that I ask you here. For some, they don't even recognize what they have in their hands, and that is the trouble. So you could have something at your disposal and you don't know it. I remember a friend of mine telling me that someone sent them some money and then they didn't see the message. So I think the money was sent on Saturday, and then the friend only got to call them on Tuesday to ask them whether they received the money. And then apparently within the period, they needed the money so much because they had an emergency, but they didn't know that the money is somewhere in their phone. So we also have many things, or we could have many things, but we don't know that we have them. So I always ask people to probably sit down and list what they have in their hands, then try to evaluate how they use them. Well, I read I read from Diary of the Miaha, page 178. So, okay, the title is For You, Gabina.
Who's Gabina?
Sometimes sunset comes before noon. Such is the erratic in mood is the weather of life. Before then, let our hands clasp on each other and steady as against the fluttering winds of an early sunset. After we travel the sunset, I pray that we'll behold the glories of the horizons, that we'll smile and allow the winds of time to carry us on, that we'll behold the glimmer of stars and the smile of the moon, forming an emoji, that will breathe in the vastness of the universe with thanksgiving for the favors and the joys of having lived, that will touch the sky. I trust that whenever and however we'll fall into God's grand scheme and in his arms. Should God take you before me, I don't want to tell the world how great a husband and a human being you are, because I can and should tell you that right now. I want you to know that I'm grateful for the gift of yourself. Thank you for sharing yourself. Thank you for sharing yourself with me. Okay. Thank you very much, Douglas. That's that's from Diary of the Mia, a special invitation that Verah kindly did to me. Every time I read this book, I have a handkerchief somewhere around because I may need it. Yeah, because of the kindness that this book, and I tell you, this book is my best, and I don't say this as an interested party. I say this from the point of a reader. Yeah.
Interested reader.
Also as an interested party. Also as an interested party. You have to note that. Anyways, it's been 2 hours, 10 minutes. I've never done a show that long, and everyone has kept themselves tuned in for this long. Thank you very much to everyone who has kept themselves tuned. Now, we are coming very close to the end of the show. Any last words from the family? The first family.
Well, I have a question. Who was ranking families and we passed these exams? We emerged on top and we didn't sit for this exam.
You are, I was just told you are the first family. If you are not the first family, then who is?
Are we?
Thank
Oh,
you. Proceed and
we'll discuss that later.
yes, yes.
Okay. Right.
Discussion over. You are the first one. Ah, anyways, I think that should be that.
Yes.
Yes.
A vote of thanks. Thank you very much for hosting us. It was a pleasure. We've had fun as usual, as it happens on this show. It's a lot of fun, a lot of learning, a lot of growth. Yeah. Thank you. Are we because you are. Thank you. We appreciate everyone who tuned in and for all the support, for all the love, and for reading these words that we put together, trusting that someone will find meaning in them. And we hope that you do. Thank you. Let's grow together.
Wow. And thank you very much. I would first wish to, to thank my sweetheart Vera for agreeing to come here. This is, Douglas, you are very famous, and this thing reaches so many people. So you see, we even had to get so I'm truly grateful for you, my sweetheart. And to show my greatness, allow me to just read 3 lines of a dedication I made to Vera, which is captured in the questions of my youth. So I made this commitment.
I can't say no.
I made this commitment outside the altar, alongside the one which was made at the altar. And I said this to the love of my life, Vera. Towards your individual goals and wishes to be of value to society, I will support you. To realize your worth and make considerable contribution to society through a number of ways, I will work with you. To make you feel worthy as the woman of worth you are, I will respect you. To give you the space to always reinvent yourself so as to be the best version of yourself, I will understand you. And to enable you to be the best mom of them, I will endeavor to be the best father of them. To make you the best wife to me, I will endeavor to be the best husband to you. To enable you create a peaceful home, I will be the peace negotiator. To enable you to do part of God's delegated work to watch over you, I assure you of my availability. And to count on the smiles, regardless of the prevailing situation, I will be the source of them. So thank you very much, Vera.
Thank you.
And then to to people who I truly believe, I truly believe that God assigned me this role, this very strategic role in Writers Guild, to tell people to just write and keep trying. Actually, that is my role. That is my job description. Just write and keep trying. So to the people, to the authors who I've seen here, Abulatia, Munira, Anwarite, my mentor and mom, Ombara, all the way from the US, Eunice, running all the way just to catch this live. Thank you very much. The writers here, or the few that I've mentioned, I mentioned them as a representation to the many writers we have in Writers Guild, and even the writers who have not discovered themselves yet. So my word to the writers here is our wish is that you should tell your story, because we all have our stories. So you should tell your story. So write, just write, and let Writers Guild do the rest. So I invite you to the journey of not robbing our future or of not robbing from the next generation. So let's write our stories, let's write our experiences as raw as they are, and let's tell our stories. So for the writers, thank you very much for believing that you have a story to tell and making the step to go out there to tell your story. Let's do that more. And Writers Guild will be here today, tomorrow, and forever to support you. And to you, Bwana Douglas Logedi, many people don't know that you are a trustee of Writers Guild Kenya. And a trustee is actually, as the name goes, trustee. It is the writers have trusted you with the resource of Writers Guild Kenya for the benefit of us all, for the common good. So thank you very much, Douglas, for being part of Writers Guild journey from the beginning. You were part of Writers Guild when we were still looking for a name. You are part of Writers Guild when we only had a name. And now you are part of Writers Guild when through this platform, we can be able to reach many people who need to be told, just write and keep trying. So thank you very much, Douglas. And I thank you. Also, pass my gratitude to the other members of the trustee, Brian Nyagol, Patricia Molin Mataga, Verah, and pass my gratitude as well to the team behind Writers Guild Kenya, June Muhwana, who is behind this show, somewhere behind this show, James Osolo, Patricia Molin Mataga, who is the administrator and the program administrator for Write Your Passion, Julin Kirote, the Incubates representative, Julita Masharia, who is in charge of books and accounts assistant, and everyone who in one way or another makes a contribution towards building this true home and growth center for writers. Pass my gratitude to everyone who is involved in managing Writers Guild. And to our partners, thank you very much for holding the hands of Writers Guild. I believe this is an idea that will be helpful to people even beyond our lifetime. So to all of you, thank you very much. Let's grow together. But remember to just write your story and keep trying.
When you are done with writing, you'll become a pastor. Thank you very much. To everyone, thank you for coming on the show. It's been a very interesting 2 hours and 22 minutes, and I've loved every part of this show. Next week, I will be having 2 people on the show who know everything there is to know about money and travel. So next week we are talking about money and traveling. So I will be sharing some of my scandals, and I'll be sharing some of the things that we've been doing that have been fun. I'll be hosting one of the most famous people on this show, Sheila Chebet, and a gentleman called Ken Ouko, who is one of the most enthusiastic travelers I know. For context, Ken was in 4 countries over the last 2 weeks. How many countries have you been to over the last 2 years? I'll leave that hanging for you to answer. And so this next week is going to be a lot of fun. So tune in next week for money and traveling, so that you can also teach yourself how to travel with your little budget and everything of that sort. I've been your host, Douglas Logedi Luhangala, the penguin who writes. I'm the author of Chasing a Bullet. If you want to buy Chasing a Bullet, call Writers Guild, text them, they'll link you up to me. Bye-bye, bon nuit. I'll see you guys next week. Yeah. And by the way, June Muhammad is my show manager. Shout out to June. She's at the course. She does this from the course. She's the most important person on this show, not even me, not anyone else. June Mukwana is the most important person on this show, because I'm saying we'll talk about finance next week. I have no idea how these people will be found. It's June who gets all of them and puts everything together and even gets me to sit where I'm sitting, the way I'm sitting there. So thank you very much, June. And yeah, for the rest of you, see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye. Cheers. Thank you.